Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, or whatever time period it is in the world when you get around to watching this, and welcome to episode chapter 3 of our little let's play of Werewolf the Apocalypse, Heart of the Forest, and, well, the previous two episodes have certainly kicked things up a notch, have they not? I've got no idea what I'm talking about. Go and watch them. But if you have, sit back, put your feet up, and let's begin with chapter 3, Standoff. I couldn't get back to sleep. Since I'd arrived in this accursed village, things had been getting stranger and stranger with every passing hour, and now I ripped a pillow in half in my sleep. Nothing about it was normal. I needed to talk it over with someone I trust. Could talk to Daniel. Daniel showed me what the Pushka really was, and although he behaved strangely, he seemed to accept me as I was. The sun had just set, and the moon wasn't up yet. I started walking. The forest loomed on the horizon. The activist camp was somewhere there. I soon ran into Bartek and Anya. "Oh, Maia, good to see you," she said. "We need to talk." I was all ears. "We're worried about you. Since we got here, you've looked distressed," she explained with a sigh. "I've looked around and it seems you're associating with some dangerous people." "They know things about my family," I answered, "and I need that information." "They could come with me if they wanted." "I know you have your own things to do," I admitted, "but if you want, you can come with me." Anya smiled. "Sure, sister," and we walked together. Bartek followed us without any discussion. The camp had a different vibe than the logging site protest. There were more people there. We looked around trying to take it all in. The people in the camp seemed quite cheerful. The smells were intriguing. There were tents and I could smell some bacon in the air. People were milling about, setting up camps, singing, preparing posters. It was a joint effort. I was hungry. My stomach ground. I was hungry. "I have no idea what your plan is," said Bartek, "but you have my full support." I saw Daniel talking to Olga. I came looking for Olga, and then I spotted her. "Well, hello again," she greeted me. "I didn't expect to see you here so soon." "Actually," she gave me a long, hard look, "I didn't expect to see you again at all." Joined the banter. "Aren't you just a ray of fucking sunshine?" I said with a broad smile, and to my surprise she started to laugh, her face softened. "What brings you here, kid?" she asked after a bit. I was confused. "I'm confused," I answered. "Is it really true? I mean, Cornell told me strange stories about my past in the forest." "There's nothing to be confused about," she shook her head. "It's perfectly clear that the government will destroy the unique forest if someone doesn't stop them. And you have your obligation to fulfill." She broke off and bit her lip. "What do you want to do about it?" I wanted to smash things. "I wanted to do something," I said. "Anything. I want to feel like I'm doing something that has a meaning that would change what happens. I feel like I'd smash those harvesters with a hammer." "Do you have a hammer?" "If I had a family debt to pay, I couldn't just be an observer anymore." She looked at me. Her eyes have a weird colour, like a deep honey or molasses. Molasses? Molasses. "Anyway, I might," she said, "but I need your support, because Cornell will try and push his own agenda." They all wanted to do something that night, but after a whole day's discussion, they were still divided on what to do. 3 for one option, 3 for the other. I saw no reason to back up Cornell. I voted for direct action, and soon we were on our way to the logging site. We had some harvesters to the face. It was too much for Bartek. "My dad will kill me if I'm caught messing with the machines." He mumbled and left. Anya tagged along. "This is so exciting," Anya whispered. "I've never done anything so illegal. We're just a group of dark silhouettes running through the night. The moon was waxing gibbous. I wished there was more light." Of course, I would have preferred a full moon for the visibility it offered, but it was good enough. I stepped into the moonlight. And suddenly felt unstoppable. We soon reached the logging site. As we were going to the logging site, I realised that this was not the non-violent way I had hoped to follow. I shrugged. Plans change, and usually for a reason. Olga stood in the middle of the clearing looking at the harvesters. She had a backpack on her shoulder. When she moved, I heard a metallic clatter from inside it. "Let's get going," she said. She looked different in the dark. She seemed more angular, broader. What to choose. Couldn't wait. "Let's get going," she said. She looked different in the dark. She seemed more angular. Oh, we've done that. Beg your pardon. "Yeah, let's smash things," I agreed. Olga reached into her backpack. She tossed something my way. It wasn't a hammer, but a can of spray paint. Red. I looked at Anya. Anya and I exchanged glances and nodded. We were ready. I glanced over my shoulder and saw Cornell staring at me. "This is a mistake," she said, his head turned away. I challenged him. "Cornell, we voted in favour of this plan," I challenged him. "And if you're not helping, at least don't bother." He stared at me, appalled. "Don't listen to that angry voice in your head, it will just push you farther and further away." Olga noticed the tension between us. "People know that I'm right," she said, looking Cornell straight in the eye. "You should have noticed that the first time you came here. Your plan will destroy lives," he answered. I asked them to stop. "Please," I said, "we have work to do." The tension broke. Cornell shook his head and turned around. We sneaked on. "Be careful and be quiet," said Lisa. She also looked different. There was camo face paint on her broad cheekbones. "There are guards nearby. I'll take care of them." And with that, she left. The harvesters just stood there, now more than ever reminding me of some of the distorted decorations from a cheap horror movie. Their black cables glistened in the moonlight, and their stench raised the hair on the back of my neck. I shook the can. And let go of the first blotch of paint. It landed on the side of the harvester. For a moment I thought the machine shuddered, and like I'd wounded it. A sudden wave of anger hit me. "Kill it!" I shook the feeling off. I felt a wave of joy. A surge of adrenaline. They were just mindless machines. We could destroy them. I sprayed like I was possessed. When I stopped to take a breath. The whole harvester was covered in symbols and slogans. It looked magnificent. "Fuck yeah!" I shouted before I could think better of it. "Shush!" Kim put their finger on their lips, but their eyes were laughing. Eventually, our work for the night was done. I wrote, "Save the forest" in every language I know, said Anya, evidently proud of herself, and I might also have Google translated a few more. I looked at the defaced harvesters. It was a mess. I was not sure if, with the tensions tearing up our group apart, we managed to put through any coherent message at all. The paint was slowly drying in the hot night air. We stopped for just a minute to admire our work, and for that moment everything was still and quiet. The air smelled of spray paint, the harvesters looked stupid and helpless, and then the stillness was broken. "Hey! What the fuck?" "Oh shit, shit, panicked Anya. "The guards!" I tried to calm her down. "Shut the fuck up," I hissed. "Do you want them to notice us?" This wasn't a good moment to panic. I took a deep breath and focused on the rhythm of my heart. It wasn't a good moment to panic and act impulsively. I looked at the guards. The guards were coming and technically we were destroying property. But they were destroying the forest. Look at the silhouettes between the trees, and their flashlights, their batons and all their gear. I realised that they didn't belong here. They were wrong. I was ready to confront them. We're going to have some fun, aren't we? I grinned. Oh, I have some stories to tell when I get home. One of them laughed nervously. Is that a threat? You're threatening us, girl? Olga laughed from behind my back. Oh, you have no idea how threatening we are. I tried to empathise. This job can't be worth it, I said, trying to empathise. Look at us. Look at these trees. Do you really want to be here? A job is a job, said the one closest to me, a grim shape who pointed his flashlight right in my eyes. We're calling the police. Don't move. I crossed my arms. I'd like to see you try, I grinned. We had numbers after all. My voice trembled and he just laughed at me. In that instant, the phone flew out of his hand. I don't know if Kim got behind him, but they were there, chuckling mockingly. Oh, sorry. Do you want to call someone? The man turned around and punched them right in the face. They didn't even flinch, and then they grabbed the man, lifted him up, and threw him at the other guards. I grinned and joined the fight. The clearing shattered like a broken window into sharp pieces, its edges cut clean by the rays of flashlight swirling in the darkness. One piece, a shout, another, a silhouette leaping, a dodge, a grunt, a punch, a cry. Curses in 3 different languages. I danced between the pieces, balancing on the edges. A body slammed into one of the men and then he stumbled. I lured him into the forest. Whatever my connection with the forest was, it was a good time to use it. I laughed at him and ran toward the trees. He came after me, blinded by anger, tripped on a root sticking out of the ground and fell with a loud thud. His flashlight shone his way. Anya screamed. Anya screamed and grabbed my arm. I saw blood. Blood on his head. Blood on the stone next to his head. Blood on the ground. Dark. Fresh. I didn't mean to. My heart sunk. What had I done? I took a step back. Then I heard a shout. She killed him! One of the men shouted, the horror clear in his voice. He directed his flashlight at my face, blinding me. Suddenly realised what we were doing. What are we all doing? I asked, my voice shaking. I felt so overwhelmed. The gravity of the situation dawned on me. The darkness, the shouting, the fear. As I felt as the pieces of the broken glass were starting to pierce my skin and my brain. I collapsed. I raised my hands to my head and curled up into a ball. I'm sorry, I shouted, almost crying. I didn't mean to. Leave her alone, someone growled, recognizing the voice. I raised my head. Was it Olga? It was Olga. She was bulging, muscles growing bigger, bones getting longer. She let out a joyous roar, grabbed the man and slashed him with her claws. I looked at the 8 feet tall, fur-covered monstrosity, and for a moment I hoped that I was dreaming. I shook my head. Something warm landed on my face. More blood. Howls. Terrified screams. Anya looked at me, panicked. What do we do? The man screamed again and pointed a gun at Olga. I turned and ran. I turned towards the forest and started to run. This is all too much. I looked back, a gunshot tore through the night. And then there was only pain. The pain was unbearable. Nothing in my life had prepared for me for this. I started laughing. Blinded by the blood in my eyes and the searing pain in my shoulder and chest, I could only laugh. This wasn't what I had expected from this trip. You spend so much time planning that only to see your whole life crash and burn. All I could do was laugh. But I knew how serious it was. So I laughed, grinning with bloody teeth until my strength left me and I couldn't hold on myself upright anymore. The forest caught my fall and I with a bed of moss and twigs, that stopped thrashing with a cold numbness engulfed me. I gave up. My eyes were open, and I stared blankly up at the trees. There was a small fragment of sky visible between the branches. Clouds moved and there was light. The full moon. It looked different. The moon was a goddess and she noticed me. "Get up," she said. I got up. I get up. I feel good. I know that I shouldn't, but I don't remember why. I don't care. My mind is clear. My mind is clearer than it's ever been before. I see the world in sharp contrasts of black and white, movement and stillness. I smell prey. I hear language and the hooting of owls, the whistling of the wind, and the snarling of wolves. I am what I was born to be. I stretch. My muscles are sore and clamped, so I stretch like I've never stretched before. My arms are longer, my legs stronger. My heart is pumping and I feel like I've spent my whole life packed into a box and I've finally been set free. I breathe. I take a breath and feel my ribs and muscles move. The forest smells of blood and fear and excitement. I'm happy. I laugh happily and others' laughter joins me. We laugh and sing to the moon. Something touches my leg. I look down. There's a small, malformed creature sticking something sharp in the muscle of my thigh. The creature is no threat to me, but its presence is annoying. It's small. Its smell almost sends me reeling, and I don't like being pricked. I rip its head off. I reach out lazily and rip its head off its shoulders. Blood blooms from its neck like a beautiful flower. I throw the head towards the moon. My ears prick and I hear more creatures running blindly through the bushes. I feel better. My legs no longer stings and I feel better than ever before. Prey. Hunt. I smell prey and I start hunting. They do not see me as I move silently through the undergrowth. The creatures are running away. Their backs turn to me. I watch them and learn how they move. Suddenly one of them turns my way. We took glances. I roar. I roar and the creature falls down and curls into a ball. It smells of ammonia. Piercing light burns my eyes. The creatures surround me. They seem to work like a pack. They are dangerous. I fight them all. With a roar, I attack them as they slowly stumble, trying to understand what's happening. There are sharp noises, there are sudden flashes, the air smells of fire and singed hair. It hurts. They hurt me. I bite and I punch and I roar. A new smell. The wind brings a new smell. The air tastes of fur and musk and blood. Shapes move among the trees, but they are no creatures. They are people, like me. Suddenly I am surrounded by them. I think I know them. They seem familiar. It's like I met them in the past, but they were hidden. They close on me. What do they want? I defend myself. They won't touch me, I promise myself as I lunge at them with my teeth bared. They jump back and laugh with delight and we start chasing each other among the trees. Run with us, they say. I howl with joy. We howl with joy and everything that hears us trembles with fear. Then we run through the forest and through the night. I get lost in the moment and pay no attention to the others. I am alone in the heart of the forest. I look up and see no moon, only clouds and tangled branches. Something changes. Something changed and I realized how tired I was. I stumbled. Darkness. The night sky was full of stars. I opened my eyes. Confused, I opened my eyes. The forest around me was thick and dark. The tree trunks wrapped tightly in dark-leaved ivy. We covered in ripples of lichen where the vines hadn't taken hold. The thorny, leafless bushes at the base were overrun with nettles. The fungi radiated with a ghoulish, sickly green. Dark, sponge-like mushrooms clung to the fallen trees. Something was wrong. I couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. I looked down and saw my hands covered in a dark substance. I was naked. A sticky, glistening film of liquid was clinging to my skin. I could feel it on my face and my hair. Blood. Someone had drawn strange symbols on the skin and the drying blood. Was it me? I knew it was coming. I remembered my dream and slowly lifted my eyes. Dead bodies were strewn round. There was a severed head right in front of me. I winced, touched it. Overcoming my disgust, I gently touched its wet hair and watched as the head toppled over. The face was contorted, the eyes bulging, the mouth open as though the head was still struggling for air. I recognized that face. Oh God. I recognized that face. It was Anya. Her braids covered with dried blood. It was all my fault. I screamed. No! I let out a long, blood-curdling scream. The night swallowed it. The bushes rustled, and a moment later I saw Olga coming out of between the trees. She looked at me. At the head at my face, she came close and squatted beside me. It's okay. She patted my shoulder. You're a werewolf. I looked at her. I blinked. Everything faded to black. Oh no! We killed Anya! I'll be honest with you. I've played this game a couple of times, you know, for the review and the preview, which you should definitely check out if you haven't done already. And, I haven't killed Anya before. I've killed Cornell. Well, I have no idea how the plot's going to unfold from this point onwards. I mean, how they're going to recognise Anya dying and all, but maybe we'll find out. Maybe we won't. But until next time, farewell.